All right, today we are diving into a really powerful piece of wisdom, one that could totally change how you think about doing good, being happy, and living without regret. It all boils down to a super simple question. Who are you actually trying to impress? Let's get into it.
You ever been there? You do everything you can to be a good person, to be helpful, to be kind, and it just falls flat. Or worse, it backfires completely. Maybe someone gets mad, or they're ungrateful, or they just totally miss the point of what you were trying to do. It's a really frustrating feeling, right? And it happens all the time.
And that feeling, it points to a hard truth about, well, being a human around other humans. You absolutely cannot please everyone. It's an impossible job. No matter how right you are, how generous you are, someone, somewhere is going to have a problem with it.
So what do you do? Well, the answer lies right here, in this game-changing shift in mindset. Do not do good to impress others. Instead, do it to impress yourself. Now that sounds simple, but trust me, the implications are huge. So let's really unpack what it means to live like that.
Okay, first, let's look at the problem this advice is trying to fix. We've got to talk about this thing called the external validation trap. It's that habit of always looking outside of ourselves for approval. And honestly, it's a losing game.
I mean, think about it. When the main reason you do something good is to get a thank you or a wow, you're amazing, you're basically handing other people the remote control to your own happiness. Your self-worth is now in their hands, and that depends entirely on their mood, their opinions, their baggage. It's completely out of your control.
And this leads you down two totally different paths. If you're constantly chasing that external approval, you become fragile. One bad comment can ruin your day. It leads to resentment, after all I did for them, and eventually just total burnout. But if you switch to seeking internal approval, you build resilience. You become authentic. Your sense of who you are is solid and consistent because the one person giving out the grades is you.
So, if chasing everyone else's approval is a trap, how do you get out? Well, it's all about developing what we're going to call your internal scorecard. This is the big shift. You stop playing for the crowd and you start playing for yourself.
So what is an internal scorecard, exactly? Put simply, it's when you measure your actions against your own standards, your own values. The big question in your head changes from, what are they going to think, to, is this in line with the person I want to be? For example, say you help a friend move all weekend. If your scorecard is external, you might get annoyed if they don't seem grateful enough. But with an internal scorecard, you feel good just because you showed up for a friend, because being reliable is one of your values. The good feeling comes from the action itself.
And let's be super clear here. This is not about becoming selfish or deciding you don't care about other people. Not at all. The goal is way more specific. It's about stopping the outsourcing of your self-esteem. You can still be the kindest, most compassionate person in the world, but you do it because that's who you are, not because you're fishing for compliments.
So how do you actually start doing this? It's really a three-step process. First, you have to truly acknowledge, and I mean really accept, that you can't make everyone happy. It's just not possible. Second, you have to define what being a good person actually means to you. What are your core principles? And third, you just act. You act based on that standard, your standard.
And if you can make this shift, what's the big prize? Well, that brings us to the best part, the unshakable reward. This is the incredible, lasting benefit of living this way.
You see, that piece of wisdom we started with, it doesn't just offer a strategy. It makes a really profound promise about what happens when you finally make this switch.
And that promise is zero. You will have zero regrets for being a good person. Just think about that for a second. No matter how people react, no matter what happens, you will never look back and think, man, I shouldn't have even bothered.
So why does this work? How is that even possible? It's because your feeling of satisfaction isn't tied to the result anymore. It's tied to your intention. When you act from your own core principles, you can stand by that choice no matter what. You did what you believed was the right thing to do. And that gives you a kind of peace that nobody can ever take away from you.
Ultimately, making this shift is about taking your power back. It's about building a foundation for your self-worth that is absolutely rock solid. And it all comes down to one last really important question to ask yourself. The next time you go to do something, just pause for a second and ask, whose approval am I really working for?